Hello, everybody, and welcome to Toffee Bluecast. This is instant match reaction. We go live after every game, whether we win or lose. So we're here. Instant match reaction. Chelsea 1, Everton 0. We're going to give our reaction on the game. We want you to get involved in the comments. We generally like to gather up how people feel after the game. So if you can get involved in the comments, we'll say our thing, and we want to put your thing on the screen as well to say how you feel after that game. Should be an interesting one. Get involved. If you haven't already and you've just come on and you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe. It's free and it just helps us. It puts the videos higher up, gets more listens, and that's what we want. So please hit the subscribe and hit the like. And let's go, Paul. How are we doing? You all right?
Not bad. Obviously frustrated. Frustrated about the performance more than anything, really. I think we didn't cover ourselves in glory, did we? But I think the game also showed up a few of our weaknesses, more so really in the latter stages of the pitch when we actually want to try and hold the ball up and create a little bit more and things like that. We're obviously weak in particular areas, aren't we? So that's why it's frustrating. And yeah, it's a bit of a pisser, to be honest.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, obviously, we did the pre-match. We had the Chelsea fan on. We spoke a lot about the game and bigged it up to be this massive game, and it just wasn't what we probably wanted it to be. I think we'll go through it. We'll talk about a few situations, a few bits and bobs, and we'll talk about their goal. But just so some people will say we're safe now. For me, I think that was probably the first performance. Well, it's the first time that we are safe this season. So for me, it was a performance that you watch it and you could tell that we think we're safe and we wasn't fighting for anything personally. The start of the game, I don't think there was enough fight. I put on Twitter, I put not enough bollocks. I put like just because you could see at the start of the game for me that Chelsea was massively up for the game. There was up our arse every time we had the ball, basically, which fair play to Chelsea. There was up for it, and there wasn't giving us no time on the ball. If Njai got the ball, there was up his arse. If any player got the ball, Patterson, even our defenders, if they got the ball, there was pressured really fast. And for me, we was really scared of that. We was really scared. And we said on the pre-match that we was going to be in for a battle this game. We said, this is going to be a big battle. You've got Garner Gay, most tackles in the Premier League. You've got Casado, second most tackles in the Premier League. And we know Chelsea have got some aggressive players. And we said us Everton players have got some aggressive players as well. So we said we was going to be in for a big battle. And I think Chelsea was up for the battle. But we wasn't looking at us at the start of that game. I mean, an example, there wasn't one single yellow card the whole game. Not one yellow card the whole game. Now, I'm not wishing yellow cards on players, but the fact Chelsea come out up our arse in our face and we just didn't even do anything back, whether that's do something back to get a yellow card or make them get a yellow card, says it all. I think we just rolled over a little bit, and I was really disappointed, especially when a lot of people have travelled to that away game. And you can accept that's a really good Chelsea team. You can accept losing against them. You'd be obviously gutted, but you can accept losing against them if you go to war. If you go to war, if you put a battle in, if you're not scared, if you show no fear. But today, for me, there's a lot of fear, and even a couple of examples like they've got the ball, back off, scared of what they're going to do instead of just going to them and saying, I'm going to get the ball off you. No, for me, when a left winger's running at your right back, I want our right back, especially when he's not been playing that much, to say, I'm going to stop you. You've got a winger where his game is attacking, and you've got a defender where his game is defending. And I would have loved for us to have gone in and said, no, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you. And there was no yellow cards, not many tackles or anything. So I think we just let Chelsea play a little bit. So it was massively.
Yeah.
It wasn't a game where we got battered, was it?
They were.
Go for it.
No, I thought we generally, I thought we defended fairly well. And I think they were limited to chances. I mean, Christ almighty, they gave their keeper man of the match. You know, a lot that just must be based on the second half and Joe Cole just remembering 3 saves that the guy's done. Defensively, I thought we were all right. It's when we had the ball and we were trying to go into their half, and we either didn't have the composure, the skill, or the touch, or the support for Beto, or they were good defensively as well. But I didn't think there were any great shakes going forward. I mean, Jackson's. I'll show it now. I've got sort of snapshots of Jackson's goal. And it just felt as though it could be avoided, and it's just the weaknesses that we've got in the higher up the pitch, which have come back to bite us. And that's not me having a go at Beto. That's weaknesses in terms of where we're putting the ball and how we're supporting the forward players, and it's just dead frustrating. So yeah, it's really annoying. Doyley Son says a whimper is actually a good word to describe what that was. I don't know whether I would have rather lost 3-0 having a go. I think we did have a go second half, but again, we're just lacking that little bit of extra composure, touch, and skill that we need to be proud of ourselves in the attacking half of the pitch, and that's where the frustration lies. So I'll show you where it was. So Pickford, for those people who obviously don't know and everything else, Pickford got the ball, and he was getting closed down. He puts a decent ball right down the middle of the pitch. There's plenty of space around Beto. Chalobah and Colwell did a decent job on Beto. They didn't have a lot of competition, to be honest. Beto's touch isn't the best, but he tried to work hard, but they just smothered him. And you can see right up the arse there of Beto. I think it's Chalobah on that one. He's got very little to sort of play with. Beto tries to then get the ball under control, but by that point, they're all over him. It wasn't a foul. Chalobah gets the ball, and is it Enzo? Then comes forward, and they were quick. They were quick to pounce on the opportunity. We literally didn't move in that 2 seconds. Enzo gives it to Jackson, who's there on the left-hand side. He turns around and hits it. Do you know what I mean? It's just bang like that. It's just so quick. And Pickford didn't really Pickford didn't really have a chance at actually getting it saved just there. So it just felt as though it could be avoided, really. And it's not me having to go at Beto or anyone else in particular, because I didn't think Pickford did anything wrong in terms of a pass. There's plenty of space there. I just think if we, 1, have a few more options, and 2, were quicker to react, because we were just really slow. I just felt as though we were really slow to react. The lads on the edge of the box had gone wide to be able to give an option to Pickford, but they were getting closed down as well. So by the time Jackson's there, Branthwaite's managed to move across, but he's not managed to get close enough to him to block any shot. Same with O'Brien. He's gone past Garner Gay, and bang, it's in the net. So, yeah, frustrating.
I think I mean, some people will jump on Beto for losing the ball, but I think when your striker loses a ball on the halfway line, you shouldn't be conceding. I don't think we can completely blame Beto for that, because he's got no options to bring it down and put it to. I feel that there's got to be midfielders there to close the players down better. I get that we was pushing up, probably anticipating Beto putting the ball through, but it didn't look like that. It was just a hold up. It wasn't a Beto flick on, Decore go, everyone go, you should be up the pitch. For me, it was more of a into Beto, and Beto needs people behind him to put it to. And if those people are behind Beto to just feed it back to, then we defend better if they're in those positions, I think, personally. If you've got, say, Beto's got the ball and he looks back and he's got Garner and Gay wanting the ball, craving the ball off him, I think it's easier for Beto. He probably doesn't lose it because he doesn't know what to do with it there, because he knows he's got to hold on to it. He hasn't got an option to pass back. So I honestly think, like, yeah, Beto lost it, but today our midfield was non-existent for me. It was James Garner. We often say ghost games. I think he did ghost the game when Alcaraz come on. Alcaraz come into that position, and Alcaraz come in, and he was brave. I said I wanted bollocks. Alcaraz come on. He showed a bit of bollocks, and I think often when we play teams like Chelsea, we respect the players too much, and that's what you could see us do that first half. We were scared of Chelsea and respected the players too much. Like, we didn't think we was better than them. And when Alcaraz come on, Alcaraz is not a player that will respect the players. He'll get stuck in. He'll move. He'll want to do it. He'll want to do you. He'll want to take you on. He's a footballer like Richarlison used to be, and didn't like a couple of our players today that ghosted that game. I just feel you've got to. Normally, these away games, we go to them and we really do put fear into the opposition. Today, we put some beds to the opposition and made it so easy for them. It's disappointing for me. I thought we'd be more against them. But the goal, like I say, back to you showing the goal, yeah, Beto probably should have held it up better. As I said to you before you put that up, they was up her arse. Chalobah, I think Beto had good opposition today. Beto would normally be able to boss the centre backs, but Chalobah, obviously, he couldn't. He got round him. He's another big lad. He got round him. Good tackle. But he's got two players round him, Beto has. So you ask yourself, where's the midfielder that's on Enzo? I think that's a big question. Like, why is Enzo? How can Beto have two players around him like that, and us have no players in sight, and then be able to run through the whole of the middle of our park? It's just frustrating. And what frustrates me the most is I don't think Chelsea was that good today. I really don't. For how much they needed it, I think there was gettable.
No.
We mentioned, and this was funny, Paul, because I was smiling to myself. We mentioned in the pre-match when we had the Chelsea fan on, I said just get a long ball into that goalkeeper and he'll drop it. And we did a long ball the first couple of minutes, and Beto was there, and he went over Beto and he dropped it. And Sancho, he dropped it, and Beto went down to near Beto's feet, and he had to dive on it just before Beto tapped it into the net. So I think in the first 5 minutes, exactly what I said. If you play a long ball into that keeper, he looked vulnerable. Now, we played the long ball, but didn't do it again. We didn't do it often enough. Our corners were shocking. James Garner, he's got to he's putting them into the keeper's hands. I don't think he could do a better job of putting it into the keeper's hands. They're not back post or front post. They're smack bang in the middle of the keeper. Smack bang in the keeper's hands. James Garner's corners. They're weak. They're not powerful, which is really frustrating when we've got big players in the box. They were saying that in the commentary about our corners. So for saying that the keeper looks so fragile at the start of the game, I feel personally that James Garner's corners going into the keeper's hands put confidence into the keeper. Joe Cole giving their keeper man of the match is ridiculous for me, because the two saves that he did, I didn't even think that was that good. I mean, they said on the when the keeper made the save, they said the keeper was going the opposite direction and he changed his direction and saved it. He wasn't. The keeper was on the left. He was miles out of position. He was on the left. He wasn't going the opposite direction. Yeah. And I think if he didn't save that, you'd be ripping him, saying how shit he is, like he normally is. So, and the Beto shot, yeah, wicked shot by Beto, really good. I rate it. But if the keeper didn't save it, I think you probably would have slated him as well. So, with the keeper making so many mistakes, running into players, not catching that Beto shot, looked massively vulnerable first half, was not taking advantage of it, not putting balls into the box. I think we should have gone direct on that keeper. That keeper was ready to be crap, but we made that keeper look good. So he should not have been man of the match. And I'm just disappointed we didn't get at him the way we probably could have got at him to make him weak, Paul. Do you know what I mean? We just played into the hands.
And the thing about those the set pieces, we're all so frustrated about the corners more than anything. But like, all the set pieces today were pretty shocking. Is that when we've looked dangerous, we've crowded the keeper, we crowded the 6-yard box, and we've curled it in, and we look dangerous because we've got tall lads. Those two last corners that we had, which Garner took, we had Schmidt on the keeper, but no one else in the 6-yard box. They were all stood on the penalty spot. So if you're going to do that, and then you're going to try something different than all being in the 6-yard box, that delivery cannot be in the 6-yard box. I mean, it's just it's just common sense, and there's very little excuse. Very little excuse. The only thing worse than just floating it and giving keeper a full 5 yards around him, 10 yards around him is when you hit the first man off a corner. These lads should not be. And I know it was well reported that we've got a set piece coach. I mean, crying out loud. If anything, they've got worse since that's actually happened.
Yeah,
so
I got a lot worse. I called it. I
show
did
a
say
difference. Show a difference. Otherwise, it's absolutely pointless. Absolutely pointless. Having a set piece coach, if you're talking about how you're actually taking those set pieces, there shouldn't be any excuse. That's the most frustrating thing for me today, apart from the actual result. It's how we didn't take opportunities to create chances because we knew they were going to be few and far between.
I mean, in the comments there, you can see Chris says set piece is diabolical. Emma, I know she's fuming with them as well, and I just think it's something that, I mean, I know I called him Danny Drinkwater, but I know his name now, Charlie Adam, the little. I'm not going to say what I think of him, but first of all, I'd never have a cop-out frigging set piece coach, but he's not. I don't know what he's done. I really don't know what he's done. I mean, I set under Sean Dyche, probably the only credit I can give to Sean Dyche is that set pieces wasn't actually that bad. And he's coming in. I don't know what he's done. I don't think he's even changed it that much, but just made us probably overthink it and made it worse. But James Garner, basically, he's curling them in. I think that's right to get someone with a right foot curling them in from the left. I think you've got to curl them in. You don't want them curling them out because they can go out of play, or I feel you can't curl it that much because you just got to hit it flat. So I don't like a left footer on that left-hand side curling it out. I prefer a right footer curling it in. But why James Garner's not curling it in, either from probably the edge of the box with a lot of power, because James Garner, he's putting them high where it's so high that no player can head a ball, that only the keeper can come out and catch it. So he's making sure he is beating the first man, but he's beating the first man in a way that you said, Paul, where he's putting it on the penalty spot high, where even if a player is in the front or behind the goalkeeper, it's at a height that only the keeper can get it. It's bread and butter for the goalkeeper. It's not even good catching. So it's really frustrating. Me personally, when I'm taking those corners, I put them on the edge of the box and I curl them into the penalty spot. So when the keeper comes out, he's got to go for a lot of bodies to come out and get it. And I think that's more dangerous.
Every set piece has got its possibilities and its pros. But you have to deliver them into those areas. I would never want us to only do one kind of corner every single time. I think it shows naivety, lack of creation, and a lack of purpose as well. Why bother having a frigging corner if that's what you're going to do? You might as well do it short, go back to the back four, give it back four, and then carry on again. You know, if you're going to do that, rather than give the ball away. Because the thing about those, particularly those last two corner kicks, was that the goalkeeper didn't have anyone round, and that's what I'm saying about people being in the 6-yard box. If you've got Branthwaite and you've got Decore and you've got O'Brien, you know, there's three straight away. We've got plenty of other tall lads who just being in that area where the ball is coming into is going to make it more difficult for people to clear it and the keeper to come and catch it. But we just, just sort of gave up. It's like we gave up going forward.
It's just we should be so good on set pieces and corners with the height we've got in the box. There was a moment, I don't know whether you've seen it, where David Moyes, it was a free kick, I think, one of those long free kicks on the probably a halfway line, and David Moyes says to O'Brien, don't go up for it. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't actually believe that he didn't go up. What's that on?
No, I don't get it. No, Beto and Schmitty as well, all tall. Emma's right. Yeah. We've got so many tall lads. And particularly if it's the last kind of couple of kicks of the game. Christ almighty.
Well, the problem is what those free kicks that I'm saying as well, Paul, that it's doing my head in those diagonal ones headed across. It really is. It was they did it to Branthwaite to head it back down and across, and I think I don't know who beat him to the header. I think it was Neto that actually stopped him. But But I hate them. And I know sometimes they work. We had a corner where we nearly scored from it with these head down to back posts. And it's a really good option, but I don't like it when we do it from so far back from the halfway line, a long lofted ball, which they've got so much time to get the players round to challenge our player. Tarkowski's probably the best at it, but I'd like us to just move the ball a little bit more. Just move it. Do you know where it's on the halfway line and we do that massive free kick and get the back post player to head it across goal? I'd like us to just move it down the wings. Just have confidence in our wingers because they're all set up on the edge of the box to defend it. Just trust your passing. Just trust your passing. 1 or 2 passing. Do them down the wings. Get round the outsides. Just try something different. It's so bloody predictable.
That's the key thing. Not doing the same thing every time. Because if you're doing the same thing every time, what's the saying about doing the same thing with the same negative result? And basically, it's ridiculous to try that. Do vary whatever the variation is. Have at least 3 or 4 different corners that you can do. When players do this, when they're about to take a corner, that normally means it's either going far post or near post. There's other ways that you can take corners. And
there was a
we
moment
only seem
where
to have one way. It's just so frustrating.
There was a moment where, like you said, I think they knew that we was going to do the same thing all the time because I looked when we took James Garner took a corner and there was no Chelsea player going short. Do you know where we had the option to go short? No Chelsea player was inside. Normally, when you get say Garner taking the corner, you'd have one of Chelsea's defenders on the edge of the box ready for someone to run short. But you knew there was no option of anyone going short. And I just think you've got to spread the players to make them think that you're going to go short sometimes. Not necessarily saying I want us to go short because we'd probably be that team that goes short and don't even put the ball in the box with big players in the box. But you just need, and if we have got a set piece coach come in, you'd like to think that he'd maximise that only job that he's got and have our players with so many different ideas in their heads that would be dangerous in different ways from corners. So I think when James Garner goes and puts that corner into the keeper's hands, you'd like to think on his next one he'd go and do something different, but he did exactly the same. And I think that's the problem. It's like they're drilled to do one corner and are just going to keep doing that. So set piece is really, really frustrating for me. I feel we could have been more dangerous with them, whether it's free kicks or set pieces. Passing the ball, awful today. Went back to our old ways a little bit and just couldn't pass. I think that was I don't know what it was, Paul. We just couldn't pass the ball. Garner Gay tried, bless him. He tried to get us on the ball. I don't think it was Garner Gay's fault. I think he was one of our better players today. Mikalenko as well. I thought he was good as well. He tried.
I thought he played well, actually, Miko. I thought he played pretty decent. Yeah.
He really did try. I say they're probably the two players. If you was to say to me, could you say you tried? Actually, I'd say Pickford as well. I'd say Pickford, Garner Gay, and Mikalenko. They'd be my 3 players that could come off the pitch and probably say, you know what, I tried and you lot didn't.
Yeah, I think there's definitely different levels. That performance today and that level of effort. Everyone tried, but we know that if we were in the shit, you know what I mean. If it was a relegation battle and it was the same fixture, you would have seen, I think, a lot more determination, in particular 50-50s or getting back or things like that. You'd certainly see a different, slightly different mentality, without a doubt. I don't think that would be, something you could deny that. But it's just frustrating from our side that we would always do that. And psychologically, it's a shame Daniel's not here because he would, he'd tell us that surely there's a psychological difference in the way that you walk onto the pitch when we're not playing for any sort of trophy, we are safe and everything else. Psychologically, it's going to go into players' heads. I'm not saying that they're all on flip-flops, all in flip-flops and waiting for the beach and all those sorts of sayings, but there's certainly a different mentality in some players,
Where I said to you, the only 3 players that I feel could come off and say they tried was Garner, Gay, Pickford, and Mikalenko. I'm talking about the first half where I thought was really poor. I didn't include. I think the substitutions. I think Alcaraz he could be in that category, and I think May McNeil would be in that category as well. I'd say Alcaraz and McNeil when they come on made a big difference. And this, for me, I just thought to myself that first half, those players don't want it, and I thought you need to bring new players on the second half that are not scared. And this is crazy. Well, do you know what? I don't mind this player now, so it's not crazy me saying it, Paul. I think Ashley Young coming on. Patterson looked scared. He looked really scared. I think Ashley Young coming on right back injected a lot of confidence right back. I think there was a lot of fear in Patterson. You could see it. And I'm gutted because I wanted him to just go for it. But you could see him backing off. Do you know when he's marking? I know he's up against a good player in, what's his name, Manueki, but I hate it when you back off. When you back off, you're saying you just to a skillful player and letting him do what he wants. You're in trouble. You back off. He'll shoot. He got a shot on target before they scored, and I hate it when you just shimmy him backing off. I think you've got to get into him quick. Just put even if you need a dead leg on him, Paul, just get into him quick. Like leave something on him because these skillful players don't like tackles. I personally find that when you come up against these skillful players, you've got to do what they don't like. And I would like to have seen us got stuck into them because I don't think they would have liked a hard tackle. I would have got straight with no yellow cards. I would have got straight into that man. And you often feel it quietens them down. If you let them get confidence and play their game, which we did with a lot of their players today, if you let them be themselves, these are world-class players, these Chelsea ones. When we played Chelsea, when we drew against them at home, I feel we got stuck into them, Paul, and you didn't see Palmer be himself. You didn't see a lot of players be themselves. Today, we let them play their own game, and I didn't like that. I expect better than that from us because we know we haven't got the most technical players in areas, but I do expect us to show fight and get stuck in. We normally do what Chelsea did at the start of that game. We normally go for it, and we always say under like Moyes that at least now they do try. Even if they're not technically, they always get stuck in, they try, and they're trying for the fans. Today, they lost that a little bit the first half, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea, this was, like we said last night with Simon, a Chelsea fan. Out of their fixtures coming up, this is definitely one that they would expect to get 3 points from, that they needed, not expected, they needed to get 3 points from because the others could kind of go either way. So they were determined to put their stamp on the game, but it didn't take much effort from them to be able to do that. I think Patterson struggled. Madiwiki?
He was good as well today, sorry.
I mean, he's very good. Branthwaite was as well. Yeah. But like you were saying about Pato there, and a few people have mentioned it. Shelley mentions it now. A little bit out of his depth. I think he didn't know which way to go. They're the better players. The thing about Palmer and the lad who Patterson was up against, they're not like a Doku who'll always try and get to the line. Do you know what I mean? You can guide them one way that, like you said, that they don't want to go. The guy who was playing against was really kind of twisting him all over the place. Whereas Mikalenko had a great game, absolutely. But Neto isn't one of those lads he's not going to sort of knock it and take you on for speed, you know what I mean? He's a bit more of a baller, I would say. So in that respect, he really struggled, Patterson. But at the same time, when we had the ball, he's also got to be able to find people to... It starts from the fullbacks generally, or from the centre-backs, and those defensive four then feed in whoever in the middle or down the line, so they can then turn, and then we can create something. And we lacked those opportunities. I think that's maybe one thing from their goal is that we weren't particularly looking for the ball other than the back four. You know, we were just kind of stood in the area. When the ball went into Beto, we didn't have anyone, or we had very few people who were waiting or moving into a position for Beto to lay it off straight away. Beto would have to have 2 or 3 or 4 touches and then look for someone. Whereas the better teams, you know that when that ball's coming into you, whatever position you are, that's one option. That's going to be another option, and the players are already there, and that's what we lack, because that's the next level to go to.
A lot of Patterson's passes was just backwards. Do you know what I mean? And not just
Yeah,
Patterson, a lot of every. But one, I credit where it's used to Chelsea though. I do think that they massively, really did. They really did come at us for that first half. You know, they didn't give
yeah,
us any time. Where we're saying we didn't pass the ball that well first off, that was massively down to us, up the players' arses. Often we do get a little bit of time to move the ball back between our defenders. There was all over the park, whether it's
most time.
Jackson up front, no player got time on the ball. And Patterson, and I think when Patterson's been out for so long, I think when you've got them on you that quick like there was, because they was hunting us first off. And I did think to myself, you know what, this isn't going to last, Paul. I thought, you know what, they can't keep this up for the whole game, and they didn't. So although I will say we got better second half when we brought the players on, I did think Chelsea, they wasn't pressing us as much and we was getting more time on the ball, and they did start to sit deeper. So sometimes you can't tell, can you, whether the players coming on second half made a difference or whether Chelsea they couldn't maintain what they did on us first half.
Yeah, they're strong. They had a strong back six, to be fair. You know, everyone who played in that position, they were strong. But again, we weren't testing them, were we? And the Core and Beto will always say, you know, they wear their hearts on their sleeves and they give us everything that they've got in terms of effort, but they'll always be lacking that bit of skill, composure, and class that we need. You know, and they will score the odd goal. But
I called Decore out more for being poor today. Missed the header. Probably had his eyes closed. I'd probably call. I think better. I felt sorry for him, you know, because he's flicking on balls for himself. He got rubbish delivery. He nearly got that header where it was a good header from them, and they just flicked it over him. He was ready to head that in. It was a good cross from Patterson. That was. He was unlucky not to get the ball off the keeper. I felt sorry for Beto. He really didn't have much service at all.
No, he's on a hiding to nothing, to be honest. So whatever your feelings about Beto today, the chances of him actually getting success was very little. I mean, his snapshot that the keeper saves just before Beto goes off is a half decent shot. Bounced a few times before it got to the keeper, but
I don't think it was even a half chance though, that one. I think that was
it was just a turn and a shot, wasn't it? I think Harrison managed to play him in over 5 or 10 yards, and then he just shot because he knew he wouldn't have any time. So.
Did you see the Beto? I can't remember which movement it was, but there was a flick where we played it into Beto and he did a back heel and played it back to the player. He did a nice little turn, and he was like, it went into Beto and he did a back flick, and I think it was probably to enjoy or someone, but we moved it about and we just couldn't get the shot off. But
yeah,
Beto, I just felt sorry for him today because I would have preferred Alcaraz to have started. I do believe David Moyes missed a trick not starting Alcaraz, to be fair, because what I've seen from Alcaraz is he could even play in James Garner's position, you know. He could play in James Garner's position because the amount of times he's coming deep. Today, he was coming deep to get the ball, and I think he's got the confidence to put the tackles in deep, and he's got the confidence to come and get on the ball. I find it mad that we're not giving Alcaraz a chance. It's really starting to wind me up now that we're not playing Alcaraz, because you can see that we have a big problem in the middle of the park because James Garner is not rising up to the occasion. He's not showing confidence. Today, he wasn't strong enough. He wasn't getting on the ball enough. Do you know, in the middle of the park when you come up against a Chelsea like today, you need a big character to say, right, you're not getting through me, or I'm going to outpass you, or he didn't take it to Chelsea. James Garner didn't. No. You felt like all we had in the centre today was Garner Gay, because Decore often was up top. He wasn't even doing much in the centre. James Garner was a ghost. And then you've just got Garner Gay, who's trying his hardest to be everything, but without two centre mids around him. I honestly feel if you had a big character player at the side of Garner Gay today, it would have been a complete different team. And I think when Alcaraz come on second half, you could see he was coming deep. But I wouldn't mind seeing, and I know it's a bit crazy because we like Alcaraz forward, but I wouldn't mind seeing Alcaraz at the side of Garner Gay and probably enjoying the 10. I don't know why Njai come off. Do
I
you know
would
why he come
just,
off? Was he injured?
you know what? I don't know whether Moyes thought he was flat or anything else. I don't think
Got
anyone
taken out
covered
a
him.
couple of times. There were dirty
Yeah,
ones grabbing his everything.
I don't think anyone covered themselves in glory. I also don't think he's fully fit. I don't think he's recovered properly from his injury against Liverpool. It's probably the reason why McNeil isn't back fully either, because he doesn't seem fully fit, to be honest. So hopefully that changes, but it's more likely change for the new season rather than the last few games potentially. I'd just like to see Alcaraz on the pitch. I think
Yeah, I want to see him start.
the difference between Alcaraz and Garner, I would imagine, is that Garner's seen as a he can spray the passes over further distances, but at the same time, I would like
Alcaraz
someone
can do
maybe
that.
with a little bit more pace because I think Alcaraz is quick over 10 yards, and I think he can get away from players like Ndai can do that. But the fact that Decore's tall and runs a lot, that's stopping Ndai going into the 10 or Alcaraz going into the 10, and also stopping McNeil from being on that left hand side. That kind of Decore thing. I don't know. It sounds as though I keep going on and battering Decore all the time, but I'm really not. I'm sort of seeing the links because him keeping Decore in that position is therefore stopping that change, which stops that change, which stops that change, and it's just it's a hindrance. And people might point to Decore having worked hard and scored a few goals and stuff. That doesn't mean that Ndai wouldn't have scored goals or Alcaraz wouldn't have scored goals or anything else. We won't know because there's not been that opportunity. So that can be frustrating.
Do you,
I've got
obviously,
sorry, go on.
questions are coming in the comments.
Yeah. There was a few
There was a
questions
question saying, "Do
before.
you think it was a penalty, Paul?" Basically, do you think it was a penalty on
Yeah.
Mitranko?
No, I don't. I think their keeper made more of it than actually was the case. Miko certainly caught the brunt of it, but I think it was just one of those accidental collisions. To be honest, no one else is involved, so I don't think it was a penalty. I don't think either team were convinced it would be a penalty either. Emma asks about Branthwaite getting the armband till the end of the season. I think he'll be if he stays. No doubt, I think he would be a future captain. I think he's probably got Pickford and Garner Gay, and obviously Seamus is still club captain. But I think he's probably got a couple of people ahead of him at the moment. That might change if he stays. He'll certainly be captain as he gets older. He'll be captain wherever he goes. I think.
Do you think?
In the future.
Do you think? Obviously, we'll do a player rating at some point, so look out for that player rating. Show people. But I think we missed Tarkowski's leadership a little bit today because what you've got to remember is a lot of our centre backs say where our centre backs are out of position from their goal. I think Tarkowski would have been probably having them in position before there was out of position, or if not screaming his head off, saying, "What the heck are you doing?" You do see Tarkowski. He often points about to players in front of him, and I think today you could. I'm not. What did you think of on that as well? It kind of interlinks this. What did you think on Jake O'Brien's performance centre back? It's weird because I don't think Jake O'Brien had a bad thing, but I do think we missed Tarkowski. It's really weird, isn't it?
You're going to miss Tarks just because of consistency and normality and everything else. I thought actually O'Brien stepped in brilliantly.
Yeah,
I think what the knock on of Tarks not being there is that Jake moving in and brings someone who's not played a lot recently into that right back position because Jake's made it his own. So then there's not a lack of communication. There's less understanding and cohesion is probably the word between the back four. Because if you've got O'Brien and Tarkowski, they've played together since Moyes, I think, has been there. And that's not changed and that's worked well. But then Tarkowski goes, so O'Brien moves in the middle, does a great job today, I thought. But Patterson, having not played, is the so-called weaker link, I suppose. So
Yeah,
it is going to be an effect. It is going to be an effect.
They kind of agree with me. In the comments says like Jake O'Brien.
Yeah.
That's why I said it. 'Cause it's weird because you do feel that you was missing Tarkowski, but then you don't feel that Jake O'Brien was bad. But then you do feel that you missed Jake O'Brien right back because the way Mikalenko played, bombing it down the left-hand side today, and that was probably one of our better players. Normally, Jake O'Brien does the same on the right-hand side. You've normally got it going on both sides. So Jake O'Brien does get forward well as well. Let me point that out. He's composed when he gets up the pitch. He does. I think today, where I said Patterson was just scared on the ball, Jake O'Brien is so calm. You forget that's why he plays well in that right back position because he doesn't just pass it quick. He'll hold on to it because he's a big lad and not pass it until he's got to pass on. So the composure we get from having Jake O'Brien right back, I feel like we massively miss. It must be really frustrating for Jake O'Brien because Jake O'Brien's probably thinking, I was good centre back. What's your problem? But then you miss him right back because he's so composed and good right back. You want to clone the man.
That's not his fault. You know what I mean?
No?
That's not his fault. That's the squad, isn't it? And that's where you go up. You go up a level. So, for example, Lavia started for Chelsea right back, and they go and change him. And Reece James, who were lording over
Casado, was it? Casado right back, and then Lavia centre mid. That they did.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so then you've got players that you can interchange, and we don't have that level of backup at the moment, which is just where we are. It's just where we are, really.
Yeah, I think you've got the thing is we know where we're at, and I don't think it's a surprise. We know that we need a right back. We know we need a left back. Kevin Farrell said that, but he felt that we could cover with Ashley Young, and he felt that we could cover it. But we do know we need players in that area. I think next season you'd like to think we've. This was why I was a bit disappointed in Patterson because I feel this is Patterson's moment where we see whether he's going to be gone or gone out on loan. Do you know what I mean? Like today, Patterson needed to show if he's good enough, and I love him. I really do. Like I want him to succeed so bad because he's such a nice lad and he's got a lot of character in him. But just because you're a nice person and because you've got a bit of a funny guy doesn't mean you're going to make it professionally. I'm a nice person. I'm a funny guy, but I'm not playing bloody.
You would have been playing Champions League, lads. You would have been playing Champions League.
Well, if we went on those, I probably would have been on par with Messi and Ronaldo with my personality. But no, I just wish he did. But today I could just see. Do you know when you feel like you can see a player that's not that level? And Patterson, he looked like a bit of a. He's playing above himself. You could see it a little bit that he was playing above himself. So. As much as I hate to say it, I do think we're going to have to. Young, don't know if we're going to give him another contract. Coleman probably finished this season. Patterson, he is our only right back. So you probably say that we have a 110% got to go and get a right back, which will massively help Jake O'Brien. Because I'd like to think if you've got a good enough right and left back, that Jake O'Brien wouldn't even be in talk to be right back unless it was needed, unless that new right back is injured.
No, well, that's how good O'Brien is because then he's been put in that position. Same with Alcaraz, I think, is obviously is better than a lot of things that we've got in the middle of the pitch, but because they're doing okay, he can fill in on the left or the right. Even though that's not his position. And we do like to have players who can play in lots of positions. But sometimes we shoehorn them into into areas on the pitch because there's a lack of option there or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So
normally, Paul, you play like Julian Lescott, he could play left centre back, he could play left back if you needed it. Normally, you wouldn't mind O'Brien filling in for our right back, but Jake O'Brien isn't filling in for our right back because we haven't got a right back. That's the difference. Like if you went through our right backs and you said, "Who is our official right back?" You say, "Is Young?" You wouldn't tick him off as being good enough. Although I do like Young, by the way, he played well when he come on. Coleman coming to an end. Patterson. We don't even know if he's good enough. So generally Jake O'Brien's not going in and filling for our main right back. He's going in and being the main right back. We haven't got a main right back, and that's the difference. That's the big problem. You don't mind your centre back going over to right back to cover your actual right back, but we've got, and that is a bad thing as well. As much as obviously Coleman's, I'll be in tears when he's gone, but the big problem is they're all on big wages as well. You've got to be clever as a club. Ashley Young's on like 80k a week. Good squad player though. Coleman's still on big wages, and then you've got Patson. I don't know what wages he's on. He's on wages. So you can't just have players there for the sake of it. Every player's got to be able to play, and I do believe that's going to get sorted out. I think the freaking group will. They ain't going to. They're going to want a strong 11. And they're not. I don't think the freaking group personally are going to let us not have a right back. They'll want a
No,
they'll want to play a right back. I just know it.
yeah. I mean, whichever position is, you can't. It's not like a bang like that. You can't snap and then suddenly everyone that you want is there for the first game of the season. You sort of look how it works. We might get 4 or 5 players, and then January transfer window we might get a couple of different ones. But it's going to be over time. It's just because we've got some people out of contract. I would be shocked if it was a case of all of them, and even though some people would want Ndai and 1 or 2 others to stay, you're going to have to keep more than that, because money-wise as well, you'd have to pay out a greater deal for someone who's not been at the club yet to fill in that position than like a sort of backup position than someone who's already there and you offer them a 1 or 2 year contract. Do you know what I mean?
Basically, if you was to go and sell Decore now, he's worth 10 million. So to buy a Decore, you need 10 million. It is that simple. Where we could just keep Decore and pay his wage.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that we need to keep or sell Decore. I'm not making that decision.
Yeah.
But I'm pointing out some of these players that do go on a free.
Yeah.
It is easier to keep them because you're not having to go and sign them. I mean, if you think back when we brought Garner Gay, I think we had to pay PSG 5-10 million just to get him on a free.
Yeah.
You will have whatever you get, you're going to have to pay for, unless you get them on a free contract at the end of the season. But you're going to massively have to overpay their wages and stuff like that to get them, because I feel that we're not on the top of the list.
No,
when we go into competitions with other teams, because other teams are higher than us and can offer more than us. So it's going to be interesting.
You can't go into the new season. You can't go into the new season with 3 keepers and a load of kids on the bench. Do you know what I mean? We can't, even though we're getting better, we can't afford to start a season that way. So we do. Mike's right. We need maybe at least 8 new players. Mark Doyley's saying 5 players minimum: left back, centre half, ball carrying midfield, right winger, striker. And the thing is, everyone wants them as well. So there is a battle for getting particular ones. That's why I think whether it be Moyes or whoever's in the background doing whatever, scouting job and things like that, I'm hoping that they already have a lot of those players eyed up for signing in the summer. They already know who they're going to go to, and maybe they've actually had a word or anything else, because it's important. We don't just want to buy. We don't want to buy people. God, the Vardy thing. Honest to God, this week, obviously Vardy's leaving Leicester. And
seen there's something about him going to Wrexham. Did you see that? Wrexham.
Well, let him know. You know what though? That's the kind of thing he should do. But you know what Twitter's like, and then someone says to all of our fans, "What do you think? Vardy on a free?" Blah blah blah. No, come on. It's stuff like that is ridiculous. Start picking out the potential. Get the young lads who you think are maybe 1 season away from being absolutely the pinnacle, like Branthwaite was. Get them off on loan or whatever. Let them come back, and then you come back stronger. So it's important that we get that bit right. we might have to keep hold of some players that we don't particularly want to put in the 11, but you can't get rid of them yet because we're not at that stage of the journey. You know, it might be that case come next summer.
Was he saying, "Oh, I say that get Vardy"? Was he saying that I say get Vardy? I don't know whether he's saying that.
Might be. Don't know. Yeah, I saw that about Vardy. Yeah, I know. Well,
he's saying the same
Oh,
as you. The
it happens
thing
with
for me,
anyone,
Paul,
though,
is
doesn't
that
it? Happens with anyone who finishes a long stint.
I don't want players that are on the way out. I want players that are
No.
on the way up because I believe
Yeah.
Everton need to be on the way up. And I think
Yeah.
going into a new stadium, basically you go into a new house, you want new stuff. You don't go and take the oldest sofa in the world and put in a brand spanking new house, do you? Do you know what I mean? Just because it's been a good sofa, and that's what you're doing with Vardy. Don't think you should do that. I think you should get the best stuff for your house. And personally, there's gonna be players out there that are on the brink of being the new Vardy. And I know sometimes it's taking a risk on a few diamonds, but if you've got the right scouting system, they'll find them, trust me. And I do believe that you've got to go and find the new Vardy. You've got to go and find even Souček. I'd take Souček as a squad player if you're not overpaying. If it comes to that you're overpaying, I want David Moyes to go and sign the new Souček and Kufel that he freaking got for West Ham.
Yeah.
When David Moyes got Souček and Kufel from Czech Republic, he found them at a young age and he spotted them. And I thought David Moyes has brought in two cracking players for West Ham. And it did West Ham for about 5 years. It even won them a trophy, those signings for David Moyes. And I think David Moyes don't go like buying old players. That we've done it with Fabian frigging Delph. You know what I mean? We did it with Wilcott. Although Wilcott was all right, it's still you're getting players on the way out. For me personally, you've got to get players. I personally think you've got to look at the player and say, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? And if this player has got to try and get in the England under 21s, or he's got to try and play for England, or he's got to try and Delph on the show. If he's got a big journey ahead of him, Paul, and he's got loads of stuff to do and he's got loads of challenges, that's the player I want. I don't want a player that like Vardy that if he didn't play well, it didn't matter because he's done so much in his career. Do you know what I mean? I want a player that's got a lot to prove. So I think we've got to be really the recruit. I'm not going to lie, we haven't talked about it much because we're going to do a lot on it at the end of the season, but I am scared of the transfer window. I am really scared of the transfer window. I really am, because we've had players on the books for 5 years. Kojan, bloody Delph was on for a long time. Gabamin was on for a long time. We've had players on the books for a long time that we couldn't get off the books. And I think finally we've got a small squad, but it's nice. It looks like the perfect thing to build around. There's not many players like that are on. There's not many players I'm massively scared that we've got. I don't hate many players at Everton now, to be fair. I actually like what we've got, and I think it's good to build on, because you can see, you think to yourself, I've got Jake O'Brien, I've got Branthwaite, Mikalenko, maybe a backup left back. We need a new right back. That's a cement. We know we need a new centre midfielder. I feel we need probably one at least, definitely, if not two wingers. And you want to, I don't mind, and some of you will disagree on this, of course you will. I don't mind keeping Beto because he always does stay fit, and getting a number one striker in ahead of Beto. So I don't mind going and getting a big boy striker that's your number one, and Beto being his competition, because I think Beto is good competition for a striker, and he's not like Calvert-Lewin getting injured all the time. I wouldn't mind that, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
The PSR kind of implications, I couldn't tell you, Emma. I don't know if anyone bloody understands the whole ins and outs, to be honest. But I think you move forward. I mean, I've loved, like, Richarlison, for example. We love him to bits, and the fact that he still goes on about us and everything else. But he struggled at Spurs. I think the injury he had after the Palace game, do you know what I mean? Sort of end of that season, he struggled. He's struggled since. I still honestly, and I can't get my head around this, but I still read people saying, "Oh, Barkley might be available." Oh my God, what are you doing to us? What are you doing to yourself? Why go down that road? In fact, why go down the road of picking players who are over the age of 25, 26 from clubs who are going to be relegated? I just don't understand that. Because those players are not on their journey on the up, like you said. Do you know what I mean? They've been in that side. If they're an absolute staple of that side that's got relegated, there's got to be better options moving forward. I understand why some people are saying Delap and everything else. I do think there's still better options out there. Depends on where they are in their journey.
Don't think
It's just
Delap
so
will come to us. I
frustrating.
think someone's going to.
That's where we look, though. Do you know what I mean? That's where I'm not saying about players who are far more expensive, but it's a wide footballing world out there. And I think if you've got any nous about you and you bring in lots of people in who have got lots of experience in different areas of business and football and scouting and everything else, don't just look at in the bottom three of the Premier League so you can pick like vultures off what's left. That's you're limiting your options there. Absolutely limiting your options because there's so many leagues out there where there's some top-notch players as well.
On what Emma said there, though, the only way we can buy 5 quality players is by selling Branthwaite. Let me just tell you this, right? I think if we sold Branthwaite, we'd be in big trouble. Some people will probably say, "Oh, you could get a centre back," but centre backs are so rare. And I said this many times on the channel. We've had a bad defence for a long time, and that can put you at the bottom of the table in relegation battles every season. It's like today. I mean, I think just having Branthwaite in your team today, centre back, kept us in that Chelsea game, and we still could have got a draw out of it when they was miles better. Because you've got Branthwaite, he's such a good defender. You look at the flick on that he did, Paul, at the end. Even Joe Cole doing me head a little bit on commentating, but sometimes he's funny. He said like the flick on that Branthwaite. Joe Cole knows that Branthwaite's class. You will not get a better centre back than Branthwaite. I would not sell Branthwaite because I'm telling you, you'd sell him for 60, 70 million, and players ain't cheap nowadays. You're not going to get 5 players for selling Branthwaite because no one's going to pay a lot for Branthwaite at the minute because he's playing for us and he's not. We know he's good, but he's not showing his maximum potential. So he's not like putting himself on the market to be the maximum price that Branthwaite can be. So personally, no, I wouldn't sell Branthwaite for any amount of money. We did it with Lukaku, and we still haven't got a bloody good striker yet. I would not sell Branthwaite. I feel when you go into this new stadium, if you can, even if it took giving Branthwaite 150k a week and putting him as bloody captain and saying you are our new journey, you are the standard that we want to play by. We want O'Brien to play at the side here, and you to nurture him into as good as you and become the best 2 centre backs in the world. That's how you make Everton a successful football club. I can guarantee the journey of getting a good centre back after selling Branthwaite, Paul, will be a long journey.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I understand. This is what I was going to say, Scar. Is that I don't think that would be us. That wouldn't be our fault. It'll be down to what he wants and how he's advised, to be honest. And it'll be how quick we can progress as well. So he'll sort of look at his career over the next 10 years. Let's say he's 22. 22?
22 or 23, yeah.
Yeah. So he's got 10 years. He's got 10 years. So if you think of where we could get to, where he should be, how long is he going to stay with us so that or until that happens? He's saying that we're going to be vying for Champions League and trophies in 2 years, 24, 25.
Next season, probably, I'd say.
Next season would be great.
Next season, we're going to move on.
Well, this lad is going to be good enough to play Champions League and vying for titles every season. And he's got 10 years to be able to do that. Really, if you think, well, then he'll be 33. He's got to be at the club that he's going to do that with at least 5 years before that. So we'd have to do really well next season and the season after for there to be a chance for him to stay, because it's his career. Do you know what I mean? He's not been an Everton fan all his life and everything else. It's a journey for them, and they're going to try and get to the absolute top, and we want to be there, but the chances are that we're not going to be there quick enough for him. So we do what we can with him while we have him. It's sad, but that's the reality of it, isn't it?
We had to do it with Lukaku. Lukaku always said if we didn't get Europa League that he'd leave, and I think we kept getting Europa League. And the moment we didn't get Europa League, he left. You had to keep to that standard to keep the players. We knew that then, and I think it was good under David Moyes because we knew that we had to get Europa League to keep these players, because we knew we had Europa League players. And if we are to become a good football team, you want players like that, because that's what you push to. And I think if you start getting rid of your players that probably better than what you should have, then your bar goes away and then you become a shit team. That's what worries me. If you take away Branthwaite, then is there any players that we need to push to be that level to keep them? I don't think there is.
No, but I don't think it's us. I don't think it's us saying we're going to sell you. I don't think there's some players I don't think we would sell. I don't think we would ever sell. It would be our choice to sell Pickford, and I don't think it'd ever be our choice to sell.
Your goalkeeper's still shit, mate. So
I also don't think that it would be our choice to sell O'Brien, because I think he could step into Branthwaite's position when eventually he goes. But it's not always our choice; it's the player's choice and the teams who come in for him. We want to. In fact, actually, what we should do is just take Branthwaite's phone off him, so no one's tapping him up over.
I honestly do believe that we've got to do that, because, as I said in the comments, I forgot about Pickford. We've got two players. We've got Pickford, and we've got Branthwaite. That's Champions League players, and we've got to try and keep. Because when we go into this new stadium, what is your plan? Where do you want to finish in this new stadium? What is your plan next season? When we go into Bramley-Moore Dockpool next season, what is your aim for the season? Remember, we had a really bad this season, and we still probably could have got body.
Not compared to the season before that and the season before that. Do you know what I mean? We survived on absolute feck all, to be honest. And then this season, it looks as though hopefully we can get 13th, because then there's a gap to 14. You just got to improve each time. It's very few and far between, like Forest's story this season, to be roughly where we were and then suddenly vying for Champions League, which I think they're probably going to miss out on, which would be a shame. Just anything to break up that monotony of the top six or whatever else, I think should always be the case. But you can't expect to do a Forest. You can't expect to do a Leicester from 2016. Do you know what I mean?
Call me mad, and I know I'm optimistic, but I feel with what David, I cancel out the first game that we played because we got battered. I don't think Moyes even paid attention to that first game. But after the first game since Moyes come in, we've been in every game, haven't we? We have been in every game. Even the Man City game we was in. I don't think we've been battered any game. We've massively been in every game. And I do believe if Moyes if he can do that next season, then I'm interested in seeing what we could do under Moyes if he does that next season, Paul. I really am. It could be a cracking season.
I think with exciting young players with a bit of pace, and the key for me is the striker. I just don't think you can go to that next level without someone who's going to bag you 15, 20 goals a season. We haven't had it. We haven't had it since Lukaku. How about that? It's going to
be interesting.
You know we'll
do a show where we
that's
say
the key. That is the key. You need a talisman. You absolutely need a talisman, and it can't be your centre back if you're going to win things. if you're going to get into that top whatever, your talisman can't just be centre back. Do you know what I mean?
If we landed on some really good players the next transfer window, and they settled in, and we built on those good players, we could really progress quickly. If we don't, we could really it could be a longer journey. So the next transfer window is massive. We're going to do a lot of stuff on transfers. I think me and Paul will do a who would we keep, who would we sell show coming up pretty soon. We've got the giveaways coming up soon. We are going to end this show because my battery's just said 2%, and I don't want to die and leave it on Paul. But yeah, it's been a cracking show.
I'll just answer that question really quick because David asked it before. Yeah,
I was going to ask you
I've got a few signed ones. This is Sharp and Sheedy for the NEC 85-86 shirt. I have got one or two other ones you can't see. I've got I've got Radzinski and Gravison with a Kijan shirt, which was kind of nice because we had that game where it was early kickoff on a Saturday. I was ill and I watched it with my dad, and we beat Southampton 2-1. Radzinski scored last minute, so that's a special one. So no, I've been lucky. I've got a few.
What size are they?
They might. Well, I see the Kijan one says XL, so might fit you.
I'm not XL. Are you checking the bits? You can have a little dig at me.
All that muscle. You've got.
Stupid doll model. But yeah, if they're large, I might have to come and take one. But I got no chance on that. Right, everybody, that is the end of the show. There has been a lot of talk, but I feel that we had to go off the subject and forget about the game a little bit, which we did. We kind of talked about next season a little bit. But yeah, the show goes on. Do you know what, Mark? Some people have said don't matter we're up, but it does matter to me because I want us to play well. And I know a lot of fans travelled to Stamford Bridge today and probably went home thinking you didn't even try. So they have got to be better. They have got to be better. One thing I will say, I don't think no game's easy, but I do think that it's probably the last game of the hard run. We've had bloody some hard fixtures, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I think
it's
not been easy. Arsenal, bloody Man City, Chelsea, just now. We had the derby as well. We've had some more games. We haven't been battered in any of them, to be fair. We've been in every game, and I think we've got some good games coming up. We just need to start winning games. I think finish season with a couple of wins. I mean, this channel now, we normally have about 1,000 people on when we win. Nobody likes talking when we lose. We'll just go Mardy. So that's about it, people. That is it. We will be here for the next game. Make sure you're here. I'm going to drop the banner now, everyone. Up the top is have a boss weekend early kickoff, so you can just get over it quick and have a good weekend. I probably won't, but try. See you later, everyone.
Yeah, do.
Yeah.